Okay, so here we are. We routed the wire up underneath the tractor. You can see all the wires hanging down. I'm going to get some wire loom, wrap that all in, zip tie it up to the ROPS down. The tricky part is the routing. That's the hardest part about the whole project. You've got to look at your tractor and see what you got, but I have a lot of mechanicals here, spring-loaded mechanicals and things like that, so I'm going to have to mount this up as high as I can, preferably along the pre-existing wiring, which runs through the body forward, and I wasn't going to do any of that business. It just takes too long. So we've got it all hooked up. As far as the lights and everything, I have to position those when it gets dark. However, it shouldn't be too much work. I'm only going to attach them with heavy-duty zip ties. I'm not going to drill into the ROPS or anything because of the structural integrity. And I only have one set currently hooked up to the battery, just for testing purposes, because the terminals that came with the wiring harness are a little too big for the terminals on the battery. So I'm going to get some new ones. I'm going to cut the old ones off, put those on, and strap it up. But for now, I just wanted to show you the lights. We're going to shut the door, turn these lights off. The other thing I did not do is I did not run it to a switched power source. So that means I can use the lights even in if the tractor's not on or in the keyed on position. So basically, there is that. There are the lights in the on, off, and this is with everything else on, so they're pretty bright. Okay, and you can see the lights are on. So I'm going to turn those off. I'm going to shut this door here. I'm going to turn out these lights. See how dark it is in here? See if I can make my way over to the tractor without killing myself. And here we go. There's the tractor dash, and here we go. Lights up the whole entire barn. And that's just the front two, not including the headlights, which we put LEDs in. So again, I'm going to position these a little bit off center. So I'm going to have them as much over as possible, so that when the bucket's up, not only will it be shining down, but it'll be off center a little bit, so that they overlap in the center on their angle edge and not direct, because I do need to be able to see off to the side as far as looking for the driveway and things like that. So overall, it took me just a couple of days, only because I had to go to the store to buy some 16 gauge wire, and really it's a pretty simple install. If you know basic wiring, basic automotive skills, you should be able to do this without any issue. I would say give yourself at least a couple hours to do the project, and maybe 3 if you're going to take your time like I did and route the wiring so that it's concealed. Again, it may vary depending on your tractor, but one other thing that you need to know about these lights: don't leave them on, obviously, when you leave the tractor, because you'll drain your battery. And the other thing is the battery. The battery itself does not have a alternator to charge it on a regular basis when it's running. So you may want to get a maintainer or something of that nature and go ahead and get that hooked up while you're here. I did not, because my maintainer does not have a detachable connection that I can leave on the battery. That may be a future project, won't be that big of a deal. Just make sure that when you run your wiring, you're not attaching your relays and stuff to anything that's going to be hot. I will go through and clip all these off later, all these zip ties. So the way I basically did it is I tried to follow the wiring as much as possible that already exists, kept it all in the engine bay, and went through the paneling, down below, back up, coming up this side just before this tail light here. So you can see this rat's nest that'll be cleaned up tomorrow once I get some wire loom that's big enough. The stuff I purchased is not big enough, so I got to go get some thicker stuff to run all those 4 cables. But yeah, overall, good little project. Kept me busy. So, you know, it's definitely worth looking into. All right, hope you learned something. On to the next.